Good evening and welcome to the SEC edition of the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast. My name is Christian. I'm joined by Dillon and Randall tonight, wherever you may be and however you may be listening. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Dillon, how's it going, my friend? Good to see you.
Pretty good. We got some big guys to talk about, so that's always fun. Some top-end talent I think we're going to get into, which is a nice change of pace from some of the other shows I've been in where, there's day two, day three guys. It's good to talk about some top guys every now and then.
Yeah, definitely got some top of the food chain players that we're going to be talking about tonight. Randall, nice to meet you. We've been talking online for a bit, but the first time we've been able to share the mic. How's it going, my friend?
Oh, man, it's good. Out in Arkansas, and it's been pretty much 110 degrees for about 25 days straight, and I'm dying. Just left soccer practice, so I don't think the camera's showing my sweat, but holy Lord, we need some rain.
So we're going to be going through a brief preview of the top offensive tackles in the SEC tonight. So, Dillon, do you want to get us started? We're going to go through a couple of the top guys here before throwing out some previews for some names who may be a little further below but have some potential to maybe rise throughout the season. So, you want us to get us started, Dillon, on the first one?
Yeah, I'll start out with my top offensive tackle, and that'll be Trevor Goosby. He's 6'7", 325 pounds. He's a senior at Texas. And starting off with him, just because he's my top tackle, but also because, there's some news with him today. He just got diagnosed with a bone bruise in his knee, and usually with bone bruises, it can kind of be tricky, but the word I'm hearing is that it's going to probably be just a few weeks, so he dodged a bullet with anything too serious. But as far as his analysis goes, he's a strong and powerful offensive tackle. He takes long strides in his pass protection set that helps him quickly establish the pocket and keep up with speed rushers. I think he's got smooth footwork. I think he uses his long arm. I think he's got pretty long arms that get into the defender's frame and helps him out a lot. He can move defenders in the run game. I watched his Texas A&M tape, and he handled business really well against Texas A&M's stacked defensive line. The negative that I wrote down here is that he's a slow mover on screen passes, and when he gets into the second level on run plays, I just think he's a tad bit on the slower side just because of his size. But that's, give and take with his size and his power. So yeah, that's what I've got on Trevor Goosby. Interested to see what you all have on him.
Yeah,
we got one, Randall.
I think the overall consensus, with the college football fans and everybody, is who do you have, Seaton or Goosby, sort of thing, when it comes to who's your OT1. I think both make pretty compelling arguments. I agree with Dillon. I think Goosby is my OT1 coming into the season. Obviously, that can change because we'll talk about Seaton and his weight transformation and things along those lines. So he's going to look a lot different going from Colorado to LSU. But I really like Goosby. He's got that NFL frame. You're right, Dillon. I'm interested to see when we could get his arm length and things along those lines, but he's got the NFL length, he's got the NFL size, and he's got the NFL feet. He's got a really, really good anchor, and I really like how he can sit on his hips already. That's NFL caliber. I think his 45-degree set looks good, and I think his upper body strength is one of his best. I think he can throw his hands independently from his feet, which then with his length keeps people at bay, and then he does a really good job at hand fighting to keep his jersey clean if they try to get in that jersey. So overall, I mean, we'll talk about Seaton next. The reason I have Goosby as my OT1 is because I do think that he is a better run blocker than Seaton, and I think he's got a little bit higher caliber in that run blocking game, as Dillon mentioned. So that's why I give him the nod before the season starts to Goosby.
And I just like to add there, like when he got thrust into action there in his freshman year against Georgia, against that stacked Georgia defense with Michael Williams and Jalen Walker.
Yeah.
He looked up to the challenge, and he just kind of continued that upward trend ever since. But you guys all said he just looks the part. His size and arm length, good hand. He's got good hand technique when he strikes first and keeps that extension from defenders. They're strong. with the grip strength. He just locks down and just naturally neutralizes and absorbs contact once he latches. He's got, and as he's accumulating more reps, you can see that confidence continue to pick up, and the game just naturally starts slowing down for him. He's gotten a lot better at picking up and processing complex fronts, blitzes, stunts, and twists, etc. Just want to see continued technical consistency, improve hand placement, pad level. At being 6'7", it's easy to just remain upright. Sinking those hips and leveraging is going to be really important for a tackle with his height. But spot on with everything you guys said. But Randall, you brought up Seaton earlier, or just a little bit ago. You want to introduce everyone to Seaton?
Absolutely. Jordan Seaton is probably the most, like, Gooseby has that high floor because just as you mentioned how he did against Georgia, right? Like, we've seen what he brings in. I won't call it dumpster fire, but coming from Colorado was not the greatest college team last year. So now he's got a chance going to LSU, really show his stuff. When it comes to Gooseby, we're talking, offensive tackle is such a premium position when it comes to the draft. So, how do you get, if you're OT1, how do you get drafted from 12 to 15, or how do you get drafted from 6 to 10, right? Or even 4 to 10? And when it comes to Gooseby, you have 3 sacks, 3 QB hits. How can you get that a little bit lower on who you're going to end up facing, like Ohio State with Kenyatta Jackson? Can you handle him? Oklahoma's line and stuff like that. Same with Seaton, right? He had 2 sacks and 0 QB hits over at Colorado. 2024, he had 3 sacks and 6 QB hits. The one thing that I loved about seeing Jordan Seaton's tapes from 24 to 2025 is he made a lot of less penalties. He really worked on getting those penalties down. He went from 15 to 4, which I really like to see. And now he lost 20 more pounds and he's heading to LSU. So this is like, I would, in my opinion, like his coming out party for everybody to watch him to see if he can get in that top 10 pick. But I love the weight drop. He is more athletic than Gooseby without a doubt. He is an athlete at that tackle position. It is impressive how he does. Those pins and pulls look terrifying. Like a brick wall is coming at you when he pulls across that line, and he can lock in and get that guy. His run game is a little weak. Pins and pulls he can locate. Getting to that second level, sometimes he has issues finding a guy, locking in and creating that gap. That's probably the number one thing he has to look on. But if you put him on an island, he handles it so well. It is fun to watch. He's super technical with his hands, and he is patient, and he doesn't allow the edge to throw the first punch and give that fake first punch so then he can get in the chest. He's very patient. He allows the guy to come to him, make the first move, and he knows how to counter. And that's what I really love about Seaton. That's NFL caliber for overall, and now coming to LSU. And then really, like, the couple ways I got him beat is just small, speedy guys. So I think with that weight loss, he's going to improve on that. If anybody's coming around that bend with a quick dip, that's really kind of where you get him at. But sitting at 325 now down to 307, I'm interested to see how that is, and then work on your run game. And then you could probably be talking about, now there's a bigger conversation of who you take, or maybe both tackles go top 10.
What you got on Seaton, Dillon?
Yeah, the first thing I wrote down for him is he plays like a bully on the field. He plays through to the whistle. He wants to hit you until that whistle is blown. He wants to push you around. Strong, powerful hands. They strike with force. I think he's a decent mover. Again, with the weight loss thing, that should improve his movement speed, his feet, quickness, and whatnot. But I think he had relatively good quick feet in pass protection to gain depth against edge rushers. I really agree with what you said about his latching issues. Like, when he latches onto the defender's frame in the run game, he can really move and steer them with ease. He just sometimes struggles to do that, to get to that point where he latches onto the defender's frame so he can push them and steer them out of the way. So I'd like to see that improve a little bit. And in the limited film I watched, because full transparency, I had like 24 to 48 hours to prepare. He in the film I watched, he was a bit grabby. Maybe it was just a sample size thing, but he was grabby and got called for a holding call. And there were arguably 2 other plays that he was a bit grabby, maybe could have gotten caught on a holding call that I saw. So maybe that's something to watch out for. But yeah, Jordan Seaton's right there is my number 2 offensive tackle at LSU.
Yeah, shout out Dillon. 24 hours notice, and he's coming in locked in and ready to roll.
I've been focused on the Big Ten this summer with a lot of the podcasts I've been doing. So SEC is new territory for me this season.
Yeah, and you guys touched up. Yeah, you guys touched up the exact concerns I had with them. I think that Randall, you alluded to it talking about Gooseby. The tiebreaker between the two of them is probably the run blocking, which advantage to Gooseby. But the two key things that I flagged for Seton was his base and hand placement can widen out. Like once he latches, so it's over. His upper body strength and his grip strength are so overwhelming. Once he grabs hold and gets attached, defender's going for a ride. But he does widen that base and get his hands wide, and that's where you see those problems. Which leads to my next point. My concern with him playing at 305 or close to 305 this year is his ability to withstand power. Because I do fear that while his upper body strength may be great, cutting almost 25 pounds roughly may sacrifice some of that lower body anchor strength, which may create some problems. Especially like week one when they play Clemson and Will Hell, that will be a big test for him. Clemson's got some guys who can really rush the passer and are physical and powerful. So that'll be a big test for him. That he should be like Seton's going to be one of the guys to definitely tune into and watch week one from a prospect standpoint.
What'll be interesting with Seton is on the other side, who is a draft of he can enter the draft. I believe he's a redshirt junior, and Weston Davis.
Yeah,
he is a tackle that's a little rough around the edges, right? So when you're talking about Clemson, like Weston Davis needs a lot of work. He kind of just acts like in my opinion, acts like a wrestler. Like he just wants to get out there, do his own thing, and hope that he wins that block. He really needs to get a lot of technique down. His 45-degree sets are super short and quick, like sand in the pants 45-degree set, which you can get around the bend a lot. He had 4 sacks, 33 pressures allowed last year with 9 penalties. So the question would be like, when you play Clemson, who's lining up against Seton like in strategic and who's lining up against Weston Davis? They're probably going to put the big guy against Weston Davis to make sure that they can get more pressures. So it'd be interesting to see how his matchups come along when Weston Davis, a far worse, I don't want to say worse because he's learning. We haven't seen him in the offseason, how he performs and how they set that up in pressure-related situations.
It'll also be interesting to see if Seton even declares, right? Because he is a junior, correct?
Correct.
Fair point.
So we might
that is
not even
that
see
is a
him
huge
this year.
Right. Like what's the balance of what looks to be a rough around the edge tackle class and then nil money, right? Like right now, like I'm pushing 40, so I don't understand the world of nil money. I'm just like, you got to declare it's a bad class. You get into the NFL and you go, but I don't know how college kids' brains work at that point. You can still get $3 million and still live the college life. I guess I get that too. So it'll be interesting.
I mean, every year since NIL's been incorporated, the number of underclassmen that is declared keeps dropping, keeps going down.
Right.
So both Gooseby and Seton have another year of eligibility remain. So it's no guarantee they neither one forgoes and enters the draft next year. So definitely a lot to play for.
The NFL's got an offensive line problem too.
Yeah, and it's kind of rare. It's kind of rare that we have 2 great or potentially great tackle prospects when, on average, generally you get maybe 1 every other year. I guess a couple of years ago it was Kelvin Banks and who else was it? Was Flog on that draft? No, it wasn't Flog.
Kelvin Banks from Texas, and then the LSU kid that went to New England.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm blanking. Will Campbell.
Yeah,
but then he had short arms, and he didn't look that great off this offseason.
Simmons was who I was thinking of. Josh Simmons,
Josh Simmons. That's a good one. He was injured, and then he came through. Yeah. And he wasn't injured. He was going to be a potential OT1 had he not got hurt. So it's kind of rare where you have 2 great tackles that could be top 5, top 10 picks. You normally get maybe one, and generally it's probably every other year. You get some tackles like last year. Fondo and Malinoa are both great, but some teams had the projection was all over the place. Some teams had them at tackle, some had them at guard. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's always a tough conversation. I'm always in the boat of if you play tackle your whole entire right before you declare, get your shot at tackle in the like in your rookie year, and then if your training camp doesn't go well, kick him into guard, or even if he does decent enough, play him for a couple games. Then if you have to kick him guard it earlier, but that's a whole nother discussion for sure.
Yeah. So I'll introduce Jacarius Peak to the show from South Carolina. 6'4", 305 pounds, a fifth-year senior this year. Just what jumps off the screen with him is athleticism. His movements and fluidity are rare for an offensive lineman. Quick to fire off the snap, explodes up to the second level, an absolute weapon in space. Also shows some good violence at the point of attack. He's got raw power to reset the line of scrimmage. And he finishes with authority, looking to bury defenders in the ground. He's got that mean streak that you like to see from tackles. And he's also got extensive experience playing both sides. He can play the left or the right side. More and more teams are valuing versatility. Teams, if you're just a one position player, you're going to get docked for that. You got to be able to do fulfill multiple different roles. And Peak's proven the ability to do that. Discipline's got to improve for him. 18 penalties committed throughout his career. He's got to cut down on penalties. Mm-hmm. And I'm a little worried about his mass against SEC power. Transfer from NC State, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe it's NC State where he's coming in from.
Yeah.
So facing that competition jump where you got a lot more NFL defensive linemen, being able to prove he can withstand that power and physicality is going to be important for him. Also suffered a knee injury over the offseason, but head coach Shane Beamer I did see a quote today where he did say that Peak is progressing well and has already begun light on-field activities. So his prognosis for the start of the season is trending in the right direction.
Nice.
So Randall, you got any on Peak?
I did. Yeah, I liked what I saw out of Peak, especially from moving from 2024 to 2025. I thought he improved really well. 2024 tape was a little rough. I'm not going to really echo much about what you said. I really do love the versatility. So entering in this draft, maybe if you're a third rounder or fourth rounder, you come in as a swing tackle. I think that's kind of perfect for where he's at that point. But I think you kind of pretty much nailed it. The only thing I got is, really like kind of sexy pass rush moves are kind of his Achilles heel, like spin moves, nice inside counters, quick dips and stuff around the bend, like short and speedy guys who are around there. So he just has to need to anticipate his blocks a little bit more and kind of get more in recognition of what your edge rushers do. Watch that tape, understand what he runs, so you can expect those things. He's going to end up having to go up against Quincy Rhodes this year from Arkansas, and he's got a nasty spin move. Very interested to see that matchup.
Did you get Peak at all? Did watch Peak at all, Dillon? Did he make your list?
No, I've got Caden Green left, and anyone else, I'll just be here and listen to you guys talk ball.
Hit us with some Caden Green.
Yeah, go and start some Caden Green.
All right. 6'5", 324 pounds. He's a senior at Missouri. Strong and powerful. I don't know if you guys remember this term, but it was going around last draft cycle with Emmanuel Pregnon. People on Twitter were saying he was built like Blastoise.
I thought the same thing. He is. Yes. He is. That is a specific body type for guards and some tackles. That is a real thing.
I'm glad someone else in here got that. But anyways, he moves and steers defenders well in the run game. I wrote a lot of bad stuff, but it's really, and I'll talk about this at the very end of my little spiel here, but sluggish when he gets to the second level, prone to getting beat by speed off the edge. His arms don't look very long on tape, like he doesn't use them like they're long, and he looks kind of stiff. And for all these reasons that I just listed, he's someone that I project moving to guard in the NFL. Randall, you were saying it earlier, though. You can throw him at tackle and see if it works and see if he sticks. But if he doesn't, you could just move him into guard and you could say, hey, we got a really good guard. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. I just think he personally projects better to guard based off his frame and, the built like Blastoise. I feel like Blastoises do better at playing guard than they do at offensive tackle. So yeah, what do you guys think about Caden Green?
Christian, what you got?
Yeah, I did not do a write-up on him because I'm saving him for next week when we talk about the interior guys. I do have him projected as a guard, but Dylan and I were kind of talking about this in the chat earlier today, and the name I kind of want to throw out there is Jonah Sabanaya, where he played college tackle, but it just felt like, he could probably play tackle, but he's going to be a damn good guard. And I kind of feel that same way with Caden Green, where could he stay at tackle? Maybe. And, if he has another strong year this year, it's going to be hard to argue against two quality seasons at tackle in the SEC. But he could be a great tackle, but I have a lot more conviction saying he's going to be a really good guard. So that at that point, I'd be more inclined to ride with what I'm more confident is what's going to work, because you try a player out, it's at a new role, it doesn't work, and all of a sudden the confidence is gone, and you got to work. It's an entire process then to get that rebuilt. Whereas you just kind of, if you kick him inside and he thrives, you got a potential Pro Bowl talent at guard.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's also like last year with Jennings Dunker, right? He played right tackle, and and you could tell, I agree. Caden Green, I think, would be a better chance than Jennings Dunker to play tackle in the NFL. I looked at Jennings Dunker and it was an immediate and a guard, but it's the same thing. Like, you kind of see that wide 45-degree set, instead of making that actual 45-degree angle, it's almost closer to 90, and it's short and quick, and that's what's built for a guard, right? That looks like a guard once a snap is played. So I agree with you. I'm not going to echo anymore. That's really the only thing that I had to say about it, is you could tell that once the ball snapped, he looks more like a guard.
All right, Randall, you want to introduce us to the next player on the list?
Yeah, let's see. I'll do one off the cuff because I know we're we're like 24 minutes in. All right, let's talk about Lance Hurd, and then maybe we can do some quick shots. I would say Lance Hurd is probably the next guy up when it comes to SEC offensive tackles. I really liked his game at Tennessee, moving over to Kentucky. He let up a decent amount of pressures, but he only gave up 3 sacks and 1 QB hit at that point. I really love his frame at 6'6", 325, and I really like his anchor. I think he's got a top 3 anchor when it comes down to it. He can really sit on those hips, and he's super violent when he plays, and that's what I really love about him. Moves on the run very well. His goal is to pancake and run blocking, and I love that so much. Again, hand placement is good with that anchor. He latches on and holds on for the entirety of the snap, or if he hits the ground. I hope I didn't lose everybody. At his speed side. Okay, perfect. Speed and footwork is at his size. He really does need to work on his speed and his footwork speed when it comes down to it. If he's not completely set, he gains a high pad level, and then people can get into his chest. So that his footwork in the shift, like that kind of sand in your pants that I talk about, that can get him off balance. And then if somebody puts a hand into his chest, then he just loses that, or he stands up too quickly. So that's what he really needs to work on. He needs to work on penalties. In 2024, he had 7. In 2025, he had 7. I'd like to see that drop a little bit if we're talking about being the 5th best tackle, draftable tackle in the SEC. But I really love his violence when it comes to his 45-degree set and just pass protection. He really just wants to be on an island, and he just wants to fight you until the play's over. So I love that, everything about them. Increase on technique, and then we're probably talking about a top 75 guy.
Yeah, he's a player I would not be surprised if the right team would maybe contemplate experiment him inside, because I do think, and this is kind of a similar thing to why I think Caden Green's a guard. I think his lateral quickness and recovery agility are middle of the pack. I think speed rushers are going to give him fits, especially once he gets to the NFL level. So I could see the right team maybe try him at tackle. I think this could be a player that's more like a play him at tackle, and if all else fails, you kick him inside. He's just going to be an absolute bully at the point of attack with that arm length and his devastating power. Just so physically overwhelming. Punches create immediate knockback. And like you said, Randall, he's a dominant and violent finisher. immovable. He's a movable object when he sinks his hips and drops his anchor. Naturally absorbs contact without surrendering depth. Just so strong, so physical. It's just some athletic limitations that will certainly allow teams to get creative with how they use him, depending on the state of their roster, but also how he fits in their scheme. That I do think that he could be a really good guard in a gap run scheme, and even in a zone scheme, where I do think he looks comfortable on the move. It's just not his. It's not his forte. It's just not what he's going to be. He's going to be excelling in line downhill and just throwing bodies out of holes.
Yeah, like he wants to get to the Mike linebacker, not to the nickel, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Yep. I agree. Nailed it.
So let's talk. So we're coming on time here. So let's talk some sleepers real quick. Just a couple names, Randall. You want to throw a couple names out that we should be keeping an eye on as we get ready to begin the college football season?
I do. Yeah. Well, maybe let's do one real quick, and then let's do some sleepers if that's okay. Because I don't think we've talked about Melvin Siani.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Let's talk about real quick. We'll do that quick, and then we'll hit the sleepers because he's not really a sleeper. I think a lot of people are high on him, so let's not put him in the sleeper category. So then we look like not good analysts. But so going from Temple to Wake Forest to Texas, I'm going to be a little bit indifferent. I think I'm going to be a little bit indifferent from you on Christian because I'm curious. Temple, he played all right tackle. Wake Forest, he played all left tackle. I think his Temple tape looked very, very good, or his Wake Forest tape looked very, very good at left tackle, and his right tackle tape at Temple looked a little rough, in my opinion. I think he was a little slow. I think he got beat around the bend a lot, and he just didn't have it all there. Now, that's to say that he went from 2024. Now we're 2 years into it, right? So he's had now a year in experience and about to enter that second year. So I could be certainly wrong in the fact that he will be fine at the right tackle. He looks like a better left tackle to me. Left tackles need to be a little bit more technical, better with your hands, more sound. And that's what I see out of Melvin Siani. I think he's super technical with his hands. I think he's lighter. He has decent footwork, and he has really good timing and anticipation. And that's kind of where the left tackle is. And right tackles, you could be maulers, right? You can just be bullies. I'm a big Buffalo Bills fan. So when you look at our tackles, Deion Dawkins is technical, and he's very good with his hands, light on his feet. Then you have Spencer Brown on the right, who just wants to literally pick people up and throw them. So I'm curious about how Siani is going to do at the right tackle in Texas, because I do think he's a better left tackle. If he does operate like he did at Wake Forest at right tackle in Texas, then we are talking about a top 3 offensive tackle.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think his left tackle tape was better at Wake Forest than his right tackle tape at Temple. And again, part of that could be just experience, just wiser, maturing.
That very much could be, right? Yeah.
I actually think this injury to Gooseby could actually play into his favor, because if Gooseby does have to miss time, Siani then, in theory, would kick over to the left side. Once Gooseby comes back, then if he can match that tape from left to right side and make it indifferent, major stock up. That's someone who you can plug and play on either side. That is going to draw the attention from a lot of teams.
That was pretty much verbatim in my head, Christian. Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, so definitely looking forward to watching Siani. And who knows, all else fails, and if he's not back for that Ohio State game, Siani's going to make himself a lot of money potentially in prime time.
I agree. Okay, since I had to throw in Siani, you start with the sleepers, Christian, then I'll go in with your sleepers.
Let's see what I got here. All right, my first one, Bo Johnson from Vanderbilt. Dillon and I meant when we did Vanderbilt team preview, we talked about him for a little bit, but coming over from North Dakota State, allowed just 1 sack during his breakout campaign over the course of last season. Someone also, we just kind of talked about Siani, how he can make a lot of money playing both sides. Bo Johnson did that. He started at left tackle, moved to the right side mid-season when the FCS playoffs began, and looked pretty good. But now coming over to Vanderbilt SEC competition, he's got a great opportunity for him to solidify himself as a potential day 2 pick, at least in the way I see it, as this season progresses. The other one I'm going to throw Caden Jones from Florida out there. Absolute towering human being at 6'8", listed at 319, but he played his previous tape I'd put him closer to 330, 340. But I'm curious to see. I think that him cutting weight is going to help his lateral quickness and agility. That's really the big area where I have flagged was just gets burnt on his corners a little too easily. I do think him cutting some weights is going to help with that tremendously.
Yeah, I love that. I got some weird ones, so I'll throw out some weird ones because I got kind of interested in some of them, and these are quick hits, and then I'll probably talk a little bit longer about one of them. Ole Miss has Tommy Kinsler IV. He came from Miami over to Ole Miss for his first year. Didn't really play much. Didn't really play many stats, but he's 6'6", 340 pounds, taking the starting role over at Ole Miss, and he sat behind Francis Mauigoa. Very curious, just if anybody's watching, let's see how he does. I'm very curious. It'll be his fourth year. He could get another year, but I would like to see how he goes, especially being behind Mauigoa and being that big of a dude. I'm very interested in that. I am interested in Alabama Javen James. And I know I'm probably going to get a little bit of crap for this, but he is moving from left tackle to right tackle. So I watched his right tackle tape, and his right tackle tape looked good. He went up against Arkansas, who had Charlie Collins, Quincy Rhodes, and a couple of good pass rushing linebackers, and he looked really good on the right side. The left side, he did not look good. He had that really, really good game, so I'm interested to see how he does in Alabama on that right side. He had 25 pressures and 3 sacks. He had 8 QB hits, but I think in the right tackle game against Arkansas, he had 2 pressures, and that was it. And Quincy Rhodes is a top 35 guy to me. It was impressive. He stoned him. So I would like to see how he does at right tackle, so I'm putting a pin in him. One more guy that I got that is super random. Well, I guess not random, but Auburn Stanton Ramel. Not a lot of tape on him because he had an injury. He had a leg injury last year going from Michigan State to Auburn, but he is super sound technical left tackle. He looks really good. He's got good length at 6'7", 313. He moves very athletically, and he's got good hands, and he has good initial punch. He can latch on well, and he already has a snatch and trap in his bag. He can hit those arms down and put you down on the ground. Very NFL-like, so I'd like to see how that is. Obviously, his injuries are the big. If he can stay healthy for the full time, then we can kind of get there, but I'm very interested to see how he does over at Auburn.
Really quick, Dillon, you got a couple names you want to throw out there for people to be paying attention to this season?
Not in the SEC. I took my first bite of the SEC pretty much just today, so I haven't dug that deep to where I'd have sleepers.
No problem. We got another offensive line show coming up next week when we go to the interior line, as well as another show later on in the season in November when we do tackles and interior guys all together. So a lot more opportunities to learn about some offensive linemen in the SEC over the course of the season. All right, so really quick here, Dillon, you want to introduce the people to all your Ravens content?
Yeah, you could find me on Twitter at Ravens_realist. Preseason's heating up, and you'll find me currently fangirling over Adam Randall on my Twitter page. I'm a big fan of his. And you'll see me posting clips of college prospects that I'm evaluating and whatnot. So yeah, if you want Ravens and draft stuff related content, just find me at Ravens_realist on Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it.
Awesome. Randall, want to tell the people how they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Randall Slifer. You can also catch me. I do a Buffalo Bills podcast on Mondays at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. It's called Buffalo Combat Zone with Due Champions. I'm here on Tuesday with Draft Professors with you guys, which I love so much. I can't wait to keep doing this throughout the season. We're getting 2026 tape soon. And then I also write for the Arkansas Razorbacks and the Buffalo Bills with Team MBS. If you want to check that out at teammbsmedia.com. And that is it. Yeah,
if you want to give Dillon, give Randall a follow online. If you want to check my workout as well, @Zwick_Christian on Twitter, also Christian Zwick on Substack for all my Eagles content, draft content on Twitter. I'll talk just about anything sports wise. So give me a follow, check out my work, and as always, you can catch me right here talking SEC ball on Tuesdays, misses our relevant draft podcast with the Draft Professor. So next week, we got the interior offensive lineman in the SEC going to give a preview on that group. So feel free to check us out, as well as we got some good content coming along every day at this channel. All the Power 4 conferences, all positions.
Monday through Sunday.
Yep, Monday through Sunday. We got everything going on at Draft Professor. So every night we got some people talking ball. So check us out.
Wild man.
He is a wild man. So much that he trusts jabronis like us to
run the show.
Run the show while he's splitting our content. So as always, Jim, appreciate you. So from Dillon, Randall, and Christian, thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll catch you on a podcast here soon, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Did it end?
Yeah, it just did. It took a little bit there.
Oh, okay. We survived.
We did. Whew.